Sawadee Krap and welcome to another episode here for the Funk It Pod. And this time it's like the media part of the podcast, the media section here at the Funk It Pod. Media Prof reacts to, and this time I couldn't avoid it. Let's talk about Andrew Tate for a little bit, just for a little. And oh God, to be quite fair, I wasn't familiar that much with Andrew Tate until like 2 weeks ago or so when Andrew Schulz on the Flagrant podcast kept talking about him and like, yeah, everybody's seen it. I'm like, I haven't. I'm not in the US. I'm like, there's a different algorithm here. I'm not exposed to all that stuff. So I hadn't seen it before. Since everyone then kept mentioning it, like Andrew Schulz, and I had heard it on the Rogan podcast, and like so many more people talk about it, I figured, okay, let's look into it, and it was obviously put off very, very, very fast. So I think it's ridiculous, all the stuff that he talks about also, given that, and I didn't do that much research on him because, as I said, I was put off instantly, but like from the basic research, like 2 or 3 Google searches, like A, the dude came from money, so how is he talking about like struggling and making it and all those things? And B, obviously the messages are just ridiculous in regards to how to treat women and whatnot. So that's obvious, right? So, but just to put it out there to make sure we are all on the same page, or you know which page I'm on. So I didn't really prepare much. Like I don't have that many talking points. I just have a few quick notes on like what I want to touch on, and didn't really put that much thought into it. So we're basically winging those talking points. So first I wrote down like what, who. So who is the dude and why is he famous, right? So I mean he used to be a kickboxer, which is cool, kind of cool because I mean I'm into martial arts. I'm like, hey, cool. But then when I see the videos right now, I mean, I have like a guy in my gym who's like 50 something. Like he's got better technique right now. I'm not saying Andrew Tate isn't a good kickboxer anymore. If he wouldn't pass a drug test, I'm sure. But I mean, the clips he posts right now where he hits pads and stuff, that's just for show. Like, cause that technique is ridiculous. It's just to make it sound like bam, bam, bam. Like, yeah, look at me, I'm cool. So that's nothing impressive. But professional kickboxer, congratulations. Having that said, everyone who's doing martial arts somewhat competitive at some point gonna get a championship somewhere because there are just a billion championships out there. But still cool. So respect for that. Then apparently he tried to be famous for like a long time. He was chasing fame for a long time. He was also a Big Brother, I think, in the UK, like way back when. Got kicked out for his remarks, I believe, about was it women or was it something with children? I'm not sure anymore. Anyways, he got kicked out because of the things that he said, which is interesting because at Big Brother, usually, I mean, they want ridiculous stuff in there, right? For the clicks, obviously. And so now he got banned from social media. And I'm not sure if it's a bad thing for him. First of all, of course, we could discuss again, like, should someone be banned from social media as long as he doesn't incite violence or self-harm or anything like that, right? So it's a question. And as far as I know, current, like, my knowledge based on what I read until yesterday was that I think Meta didn't really comment on why they removed him, only that he violated some guidelines but didn't really specify which guidelines as far as I'm concerned. I think his channel on YouTube might also be gone. I'm not sure. I know that he's back there, that he's now on Getter, obviously, GETTR, where like all the weird people are that get banned. So, and I don't want to take Twitter's or like Meta's side here per se, because the question is, of course, where's the line, right? Like, just because he says weird stuff that we don't agree with, should he be banned? Shouldn't people see the person he is and judge him for that? Then again, he amassed, like, I think at time of his deletion, 4-point-something million followers on the Meta platforms like Instagram, Facebook. And within the last month or so, it skyrocketed from like a 1 million to like those 4-something million. As far as I understand it, I think my source was The Guardian or BBC. I know, but I think that they should get the numbers right at least. So let's believe them that it's somewhere in that area, right? Around that, from 1 to 4 million or so. So yeah, now the question is, right, shouldn't people see what person he is and then judge him and then not follow him, probably? question is, would it work though? Because now it jumped from no one to 1 million to 4 million, and so more and more people follow him. Now, if those people follow him because they think it's ridiculous what he's saying, or they really buy into it, is of course a question. But among 4 million followers, there are probably a lot who think it's funny or it's ridiculous, but also a lot who are really into it. And the comments on his socials suggest that, I mean, I left a sarcastic comment, and the sarcastic comment got lots of likes, and now I'm not sure if people understood the sarcasm or if they really think that I meant what I was saying. So that's really like the gray zone there, right? And so I'm trying to make it sound like somewhat academic, or at least like not like offensive towards anyone. But why would you follow such a person? Is the question. If it's not just for the giggles and for the laughs, right? Like sometimes it's funny to follow people that are offensive. It's like a comedian saying something offensive, but then there's usually a punchline involved or something like that. With Andrew Tate, no punchline, unless, I mean, the punchline is that he punches women, for example. I'm not saying he did. That was kind of like a joke right now, right? So apparently, allegedly, he's also been involved in sex trafficking or something, but it's just allegation. So I have no proof of that. That's just what I read online. So make of that what you want. Now, why do people gravitate to that? Taking away the people who laugh about offensive stuff, take away the people who think it's ridiculous just for the giggles. Even if it's half the people, it's still, and then he has still like 2 million people who follow him for his content. Why? And I think there's lots of things to talk about, or there's lots of reasons why. One being, of course, like this wokeness movement that simply doesn't, how do I phrase it, doesn't allow you to be who you are. That sounds like everybody's is a terrible person. That's not. It's just you got to be aware of what you're saying, right? It's so easy to offend people these days, and so that's why then I think lots of social media users, they don't say what they want to say based on the fear of repercussions. Now, does that mean that something's wrong? Maybe it's also, maybe if you feel like you want to say something offensive, maybe you should also look into yourself and like, why do I feel it? Why do I want to say that? Or is there a better way to phrase it? Obviously, right? There are two sides of the coin, obviously. I think one reason is simply that people say, okay, everything is so woke, so PC right now. Look at him. That's so cool. Yeah, man, you tell them. You fight our fights. Secondly, I mean, living is just getting more expensive everywhere right now. And of course, so we are all striving to have more money. We're like, I wish I had more money. And his hustle quotes are ridiculous if you come from money. But they speak to people who haven't made it yet. They speak to people like, yeah, one day I'm going to make it. Exactly. Yeah. So it's just easy to agree with what he says. He doesn't really give any tips. He's just saying, I grind and I cannot be denied, and all, and people are like, yeah, exactly, right? So it's a very easy common denominator. It's like, yeah, I feel down on my luck. I feel, and of course you don't want to look at yourself. You feel mistreated by everybody, by the world, by the universe. The universe owns me something. My favorite thing that he posted on Instagram before he got taken down was something like, the universe owes me this, and she will pay for it, because the universe, of course, is female, and she owes it to Andrew Tate. It was fantastic. I loved it. But yeah, you can see how this anger of like everything's treating me terribly. The world is terrible. I don't have many friends. I want to belong to a group. That's a big, like, when we look at like how media and society works, like sociology and so on, talks a lot about group dynamics, and the media makes use of that. They want a group. We talked about this before on this podcast, like how they try to group the viewers into different categories so that they then can communicate to those categories. That's everything that political parties do. They don't care about that's a different podcast, right? They don't care about anything. They want to group you, they want to divide you, and then they want to produce content that focuses on that specific group, that resonates with a specific group. Long story short, different podcasts, we can go into more detail, but this group dynamic is obviously also one reason why Andrew Tate has blown up so much, because you feel like, hey, there's this guy that understands me, and the other people commenting on there, they understand me. He has like, what's it called? HU, Hustle University. Should do a collab with Trump University. And he's like, and in his Hustle University, I assume I didn't subscribe, he teaches you how to hustle, how to sell people. Joking. It was a joke. Sarcasm. But it resonates with an audience, right? So I don't have many friends. I'm down on my luck. I don't earn much money. My job sucks, but the universe owes me something, and one day she is going to pay for it, the universe. And same thing then with women, of course. They walk around like this, and they ignore me. They owe me attention, and all those stupid things that he's saying. And I have to use this vocabulary right now in this situation to make clear like where I stand, because obviously I don't say that's correct. I just say that's the reason why it connects to an audience. Again, like this group dynamic speaks to the problems that you're facing right now. It divides you even more from other groups, right? Then, of course, lots of people like me saying, that's ridiculous what he's saying. And then you think, oh, but I agree with it. And then it drives like a wedge between us in this case. So this group dynamic becomes even stronger. You're even more ingrained into the group that follows him. And like, yeah, that's my people. And then the others suck. They don't know what they're talking about. Oh, they're all against me. They want to keep me down. And so this group dynamic continues even further. So that's how every other media product works, basically. That's also what happens here with Andrew Tate right now. Now, taking him from the platforms, does that help? Well, first, he's on Getter already. GETTR, if you're not familiar with it, Getter. Getter was one of the first. They reached out to him, said, hey, come over here. I follow a few other controversial people on Twitter just to see what's happening, because I try not to be only in my bubble. We should also have a podcast on filter bubbles and echo chambers and stuff like this. And a few of those controversial people are like, yeah, I also have a Getter account already, just in case Twitter kicks me off. And this should also be a different podcast, because I mean, also if you listen to other podcasts, like I listened to Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon yesterday, both of which who I like to listen to. I don't agree with everything they say, neither man, but I do enjoy their conversations, and I enjoy their thought processes. And both of them, I mean, Joe Rogan doesn't care anymore, but he also said that lots of people he knows, but anecdotal. But Tim Dillon also says that like apparently like he doesn't appear in lots of Twitter searches anymore and loses followers and so on. Even though people say, hey, I didn't unfollow you, but Twitter made me unfollow you and so on. Luis J. Gomez, another comedian, also said that, I think. So make of it what you will, right? So the algorithm, as soon as you say something that is considered somewhat offensive, maybe you're probably in Twitter jail or something like this. Different discussion. Back to Andrew Tate, though. Is the world a better place without him on Twitter or Meta or whatever? I would say probably. But hear me out here. I'm not saying it's right to ban him. I'm just saying he's gone. So if he would have never been there, would the internet be a better place? Kinda, because that content wouldn't be there. But that's not how it is. He's been there. He's got a following. Now he's been taken down. This does not speak for those platforms that are supposed to be like the town hall and so on, like freedom of speech and whatnot. Especially if they don't state exactly why he's been removed. It's just like randomly, we don't like you, you're gone. And yeah, private company, whatever. No, we know that's not how it works, right? So that's weird. So it doesn't speak for the company, unfortunately. And since he's been there, he's got lots of followers. And of course, some of them are going to follow him to other platforms, Scatter and so on. Thirdly, within the hour of his removal, he's popped up on 1,000 podcasts on YouTube talking about being removed. So that gave him lots of extra PR that he might not have gotten otherwise. So I think right now, me talking about him, I would have not talked about him if he wouldn't have been removed, right? If it wouldn't be like such a topic that my students are like, hey, teacher, like, yo, what do you think about Andrew Tate? I was like, all right, let's talk about it. So bad PR is good PR. In this case, it seems to be very true. And he's got his own website. He's got his Hustle University website. This all gonna boom now just because of all the media attention that he gets right now. The Guardian, the BBC talks about Andrew Tate being removed. Ridiculous. If this would not have happened, he wouldn't have gotten that much PR. So that's good for him. Lastly, he's kind of a role model for angry white men and there probably are already like 1,000 clones of him who now will amass more followers on social platforms until they are banned and taken down. And I mean, is Twitter or Meta going after everybody now? Yeah, so I think his success so far with this attitude and this stance and the way he produced content and distributed content showed that that's the way to success, if that's the success you want, if attention is what you want. And there will be lots of followers, or people, not followers, but people that are following in his footsteps right now. Copycats, so to speak. I'm sure they're already out there. Andrew Tate 2.0 is definitely there. And so you can't weed that out by just removing it and saying like, it never happened, because we know it happened. People saw it. So that's not how it works. And I think Meta, and if he's gone on Twitter and he's gone on YouTube, they just shot themselves in the foot with this and just, again, benefit other platforms. It's the same. I mean, it didn't take off like True Social. Maybe he's already on there. Didn't take off, of course, because it's ridiculous. But it got lots of buzz when Donald Trump started it because he got banned from Twitter. So if this continues, eventually there will be a platform that will be not as big as Meta, as Twitter, whatever, from the get-go, obviously, but there will be a platform that will catch on even more than Getter or what's it called, Pandora, whatever they're called. I even forgot something. It will catch on eventually. Parler, not Pandora. Pandora is the music streaming. Parler was the other one, right? There are more. Eventually one will catch on. Maybe it's even Substack. And there will be a place where all those people that are being expelled, banned from other platforms, can come together and then maybe bring their hate together. Like, oh yeah, everybody sucks. Let's just band together. And it's going to be even worse, because then this divide will be even stronger. We'll see even more divisive content rather than content that brings us all together. That's my quick take on Andrew Tate. I think he's not done. He will have friends, Andrew Tate 2.0, whatever, people that invite him on podcasts all the time, even if he doesn't have his own channel. So he will keep having content out there. He will use his own platform, probably get signed to another platform, probably opens another Substack or something. We haven't seen the last of him, obviously, and there will be lots of copycats, follow-ups of his content. And I think social media in this case has definitely not taken a step forward. But let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on Andrew Tate, how the situation was handled, how Meta and so on handle the situation, what they should be doing, what you would be doing? Let me know. Shout out in the comments at FunkitPod on social media. Email is funkitpod@gmail.com. Happy to have a discussion. Let me know what you think. As always, like, share, subscribe. That would be cool. Rate this thing wherever you listen to podcasts. If there's anything that you want to have discussed, shout out in the comments or by email. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe, take care, and we talk soon. Sawadee Krap.